Have you ever wondered exactly what went wrong in your apology? Well, it didn't seem to be good enough and you were rejected, left in complete confusion? Well, now it's time to find out where you may have gone wrong. I want you, my audience, to be able to take away from this presentation with the knowledge that I have received from reading this book, Gary Chapman and Jennifer Thomas's When Sorry Isn't Enough, on how to be able to understand what went wrong in past apologies and apply them to future ones. There are 3 main points I want to bring to your attention today. They are the 5 main aspects to building a good apology, the physical appearances on how your apology should be, and examples of what not to say and what to say. Now, before we can get right into apologies as a whole, I want to talk about what actually makes a good apology. According to Chapman and Thomas, there are 5 key points to building a good apology. The first is by expressing your regret. This is the emotional aspect of an apology as quoted by Thomas and Chapman. This is showing the other person that you hurt ultimately from hurting them, that you are ashamed of what you did, and also with it expressing regret, you need to be able to understand what you are apologizing for, to see things from the other person's perspective, and be able to, if they ask, put it into specific detail. The second aspect is accepting the responsibility. Sometimes it's hard for us to admit where we messed up. This can come from the need to self-justify. The self-justifying is often planted in childhood. A child that is excessively punished, condemned, or shamed for minor offenses has the sense of self-worth diminished. Subconsciously, this child makes the emotional link between wrong behavior and low self-worth. Thus, admitting to wrong is to be bad. Page 34. So when accepting responsibility, you should not blame others for your actions. It is a sign of immaturity and degrades the whole point of your apology. Also, actually taking the time to say you are taking full responsibility for your actions may just be the words the other person needs to hear. The third aspect is the action of making restitution. This is the idea of making things right, page 61. For couples, this can be done in 5 ways. The words of affirmation. This can be a compliment, a thank you. The second is acts of service, like making dinner, helping them with the house, etc. The third is receiving gifts. With this, the other person gets the warm idea that you were thinking of them when you weren't even with them. Quality time is another one. This is just as it sounds, spending some one-on-one time with your other. And then physical touch. This includes holding hands, kissing, embracing each other, etc. And for those who aren't as acquainted as couples are, this restitution can be made in the form of actual money or replacing what was broken, lost, stolen, etc. The fourth aspect is genuinely repenting. It begins with an expression of intent to change, page 61. You can then actually begin to make your plan on how to not let this happen again. You can write it down, reread it, put it somewhere where you will remember it, whatever you need to do to be able to always look back on it and act upon it to make the actual change. The last and final stage is requesting forgiveness. Now, I'm sure you're wondering why you should ask for forgiveness. This is because it shows the other person that you want to be able to fix the relationship, and it also shows that you realize you have obviously made a mistake. Otherwise, you wouldn't want the forgiveness. Also, asking for forgiveness puts the future of the relationship in the other person's hands. You cannot pick what they do. Also, it is important to remember that when asking for forgiveness, you need to be polite. You do not demand it. Now that you understand how to build a good apology, I want to take time to mention what you should and shouldn't do when finally putting your apology into action. There are a few basic do's and don'ts of apologizing. You do want to apologize to the person in person. It is much more personable. You don't want to give the apology through social media like a Facebook message, emails, or text. It takes the sincerity out of the actual apology. You do want to make eye contact with the person. You don't want to have your arms crossed the whole time. This can appear to the other person that you have some sort of an attitude to your apology and that you are standoffish. You do want to listen to the other person and acknowledge what they are saying, not make them feel like they are talking to a brick wall. Also, you do want to have a pleasant tone to your voice. After all, who wants to hear an apology filled with attitude and sarcasm? Now, I do have some examples for you of both good and bad apology ideas. Here are some examples of what to say. 3 examples of good apologetic phrases are taken from page 162. I did it and I have no excuse. I was careless, insensitive, thoughtless, or rude. I realize that talk is cheap. I know I need to show you that I will change. These prove the points that you actually realize what you did and you're willing to act upon it. 3 examples of apologetic phrases that don't work are taken from page 161. Haven't you gotten over that yet? I'm sorry that you were offended, and you need to just get over it. These are bad examples because you are putting the blame on the other person and making it seem like it is their fault. Well, I have presented with you with the 3 most important points that come with building a good apology. Now, if you ever need to apologize, you have the information to be able to give a good apology with confidence and present it perfectly as well. With this, you guys have the confidence of knowing the 5 main key concepts to building a good apology, and these include expressing regret, accepting responsibility, making restitution, genuinely repenting, and requesting forgiveness. You also know how the physical appearance of a good apology should be. That in person is the best and that your body language should match your apology. Finally, you also know examples of phrases that do and do not work when trying to apologize. I thank you for listening to my speech today, and hopefully next time you need to make an apology, you will be able to refer back to what you heard from me today and build and present the perfect apology.